Tahtahme. Tahtahme. I wonder what does Tahtahme even mean? Tahtahme. She put out a new video. So, what say you? Talk to me. Tahtahme, talk to me. What say you? Chins up, comrades, and get over AOC.
Welcome to my diary. I'm Tahtahme, and today we're going to talk about how you shouldn't be wasting any tears on AOC. You shouldn't be just so glum, like, oh, there's nobody we can trust. Honey, there are so many people you can still trust. There's a whole lot Green Party out here. There's a whole lot activists out here. The struggle is not over just because AOC has decided to fund the goddamn police, just because AOC is actually a capitalist, just because AOC is not a radical leftist as the right has been labeling her. And in fact, who is the radical group that knows her? Who is the radical group that claims her? Nobody, because she's very centrist, she's very mild, and she's going to continue to have excuses for you for why she doesn't do what she's supposed to do, why she was voted into the House to...
Fiorella Isabel said that AOC is the Democratic Party's gossip girl, who just says everything's fun and dandy, you know. Don't, you know, nothing to see here, like Leslie Nielsen and Naked Gun when there's a big, you know, like explosion. There's like a lot to see. Nothing to see here.
To be in the first place, she's never going to raise hell like she was supposed to do, and she's always going to have a kind of condescending way of shaming you for thinking that she should be doing something else. I do want to take a second, though, to shout out some folks who did have a backbone. First of all, Cori, well done. I'm just impressed with the fact that she is out here just speaking truth. She is the type of person who she's gone there and so far has seen, besides the beginning was a little shaky, it did seem like, is she just going to go along with what everybody does? But for right now, it does seem like she's just, like, the squad is bunk, it doesn't work together, and she's like, I'm going to just do what I'm supposed to do as a progressive. And that, I commend that, and I commend that fully. Okay, I also want to shout out Ilhan, Omar, and Ayanna, Pressley. I guess it was just you three. I knew it was three of y'all. I knew Cori was one. Jamal Bowman was good. AOC was good. Funding the police, even though the police being funded was not at all the issue of January 6th. This is just so mind-boggling.
So I want to say a couple things. So yeah, that is, let's give credit where credit is due. Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley stood up for defunding the police. They stood up for defunding the police. And so that's fantastic. That takes bravery. That takes courage. Out of 435 representatives, we had 3 fucking courageous. And actually, it wasn't just them. Those were the ones of the squad. The House barely passed it. So 213 said yes, and 212 said no. So Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley were actually part of the 212 that said no. So a shit ton of representatives in the House said no. But the criticism for AOC and Jamal Bowman and Rashida Tlaib wasn't that they voted yes, because they did not vote yes. It was that they voted present. And since this bill won by a single vote, if AOC or Bowman or Rashida would have voted no, then it would have stalled. And if 2 of them would have voted no, it wouldn't have passed. So that's, you know, that's the stats. The Capitol Police, it's funding the Capitol Police, $2 billion for the Capitol Police. And I was actually mixed about this because after they didn't get the January 6th commission, so I mean, what changes are we going to make? And that is kind of embarrassing, not just for, like, you know, homegrown fucking bullshit, but like foreign shit. I mean, I'm sure the whole world saw, like, Jesus Christ, Americans just walked right into their capital like it was nothing. The Pentagon, the military, this big ass empire, you just walked casually on in like you was walking in a park or something. So that's, I was mixed on it. I mean, I'm for defund the police, but, you know, I also see that defund the police isn't get rid of the police. It's to, you know, let the police do their thing, but, you know, not call the police for everything. So for homelessness, for mental health issues, for, you know, a whole range of things. So I could see why people would want, you know, more Capitol Police, that January 6th insurrection or know, is racist, fascist, fucking, you know, criminal, fucking thieving ass, democracy stealing, yeah, a bunch of treasonous fucking bastards. That's who that fucker was. So, yeah, since I was actually mixed on it, I didn't jump on this whole, you know, the funding the Capitol Police would be a horrible, terrible thing. But in terms of, you know, being for defund the police, not a good look. And you know what? For whatever reasons, people fall wherever they fell. So, you know, good for Cori Bush, good for Ilhan Omar, good for Ayanna Pressley. They were strong enough, you know, of the squad to say no, and actually 212 of the House reps voted no. So AOC and Bowman and Rashida Tlaib couldn't do what 212 of their colleagues had done. And so that would actually mean that there's 200 more progressive members of the House than AOC, Bowman, and Rashida. So, all right, Tahtahme.
Puzzling to me, though, that we really let the right take and make this whole narrative about who should be what. And so that's my first suggestion. The reality is, a huge part of this issue is that rhetoric. It's that rhetoric from the right that so slammed her and so painted her a certain way that leftists, for some reason, felt the need to defend her, even though she wasn't really that leftist and had never really, you know, she had never really promised anything.
She's a socialist. So, there, I mean, how many socialists are in Congress? And Fox News, I mean, compared to the rest of the House, a lot of the stuff that she was saying, I mean, when it comes to immigrants and a whole bunch of the Green New Deal, she's the one that got the Green New Deal, you know, introduced into the conversation. So, I would say she's actually more progressive than, you know, she started out, AOC, the candidate, was more progressive than a lot of the, not just the House, but probably America. She's a socialist. So, you know, 50 years ago, we're throwing, you know, communists in jail and shit. So that's I think Bernie's the only socialist that I know that's in, you know, the Senate or the House. So, but yeah, 2 years, she's a disappointment, and yeah, she's not going to be the change that we need.
Anybody. She had never really done anything that was radical. That wasn't just a basic, like, climate change is a big deal, guys, and we should have health care, because a lot of other countries do too, and they spend less than we do and have comparable results, so it just doesn't make sense. That's just not a crazy-ass take, but for some reason we've let her be the face. That's why I say she takes up so much space, and we need to stop giving her the time of day, stop giving her that space, that platform.
I think it's a good idea. I have, you know, this main message is to get over AOC, and I got mixed, you know, feelings on that too. Get over AOC. I'm over AOC. I'm over AOC, and so I'm, you know, just going to carry on with Tahtahme's wavelengths here. I'm over AOC, and so we should focus on Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, or Ayanna Pressley, because at least they were, you know, brave enough to vote no for the $2 billion for the Capitol Police. That's remarkable. That's fantastic. And so Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, the AOC does have like an undeserved, you know, sort of like she's the captain of the squad or some shit. But here we see that the squad had split. And so there doesn't seem to be a captain. It seems to be maybe, I mean, Cori Bush could be a good new captain, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley. So I think it's good to know more representatives than just AOC. That being said, AOC is the, you know, symbol for how progressive Congress will go. And so, okay, let's go ahead and give the symbol to Cori Bush. Well, it's important to know how far Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley are willing to go. We need to know the scope of debate, right? What's that old, the stupid window, whatever, the window that, the Overton window of what's allowed in the conversation. So, where the squad, you know, where they draw a line, we can't go any farther left than that. And so that's important to know where they are in terms of, you know, how far progressive they are. If they're barely progressive, are they progressive, you know? So I think how far left the 10 progressives in Congress, how far they're willing to go, that sets the limit for the debate. It's important for us to know. And ultimately, when it comes to war, poverty, health care, I don't see any progressives in Congress. You know, basically, when it comes to health care, poverty, war, these are non-negotiable issues, and yet they're negotiating them. So, I agree. I agree with Tahtahme for myself. For myself, I'm, kind of sick and tired of the AOC bashing. Yeah, she's terrible. She's not a progressive. She's more capitalist and socialist, and she's been a huge disappointment, and I expect, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3-point shots or whatever, but I don't see her being a Jordan and taking over the game. So, I'm already there, but when it comes to America, I don't know if America knows that, for the 50 nifty United States, it's up to your state, and it's up to your locality. It's up to you. If you're waiting for America to pass, a public option or $15 minimum wage or police reform or ending the wars or anything, if you're waiting for America, the American government to do anything, get you a house to, I don't know, find jobs for you or something, or get you a new car, they're not going to do any goddamn thing. I mean, I'm nearly 40 years old, so for 4 fucking decades, it doesn't matter who the goddamn president is. I don't know who's getting all this fucking money that we're spending in America, but, it's not me. And I don't see major changes. It's all Walmart's, McDonald's, it's all the same shit. I mean, what's the changes? There's, we haven't had an LBJ and FDR or Abraham Lincoln in, 70-something years. So, the hope for America is not going to come from the U.S. government, and I'm not sure if the American people know that. And I wish we would add more force of vote so that way it'd be clear as day. So I'm mixed on the AOC bashing. I'm personally over AOC, but I'm not sure if America knows for sure because they keep grifting and they keep, saying that they're going to do this and do that, and they keep taking fucking people's money and shit, which I always thought was weird. Politicians, hey, you want me to win? Give me money, and then I'll turn the economy around and put more money in your pockets, and so it's an investment, right? You're giving me $100, and then I'm supposed to, but it's just always giving them money. I mean, what, we got like a couple stimulus checks or whatever. But that's it, is there another one coming? No, okay, well, rent happens every month, right? So I'm not sure if the American knows. Also, I wish we would have had like 20 or 30 different force of votes. We should have had at least a dozen force of votes by now, and I think that would have made it very crystal clear that whoever was going to do whatever. And so yeah, I agree with you, Tahtahme, Cori Bush, Ilhan, Omar, Ayanna, Pressley. Let's focus on them more. AOC, she's kind of
platform and stop letting the right dictate.
She's washed up. She's washed up.
Isn't. We need to decide that. We need to be looking at these people. We need to be deciding who our fighter is and choosing an actual fighter, choosing somebody who's willing to make enemies, there is no mama bear for them. And fuck all the people who, all the Republicans, because they say fuck you to our lives every day. That's the type of person we need. But for some reason, we're letting our people be crowned by other people, and I feel like it's vitally important for us to realize. And then the other part of that is that I think this is another boom, obvious moment that
I want to make a quick comment on what she just said. I forgot it. Okay.
This idea by all these center leftists that seem to run the conversation on YouTube. We have like Kyle Kornski, Hackman, Sam Cedar, Fair and Balanced, right? We have the Waldorf Nation, and so I'm just saying, I'm not saying
Waldorf.
all of them have been
What the fuck is the Waldorf Nation?
super into the Democrat Party, but all of them kind of give them a little more slack than I think that they should, and because of this, it paints this picture where people aren't holding the Democrat.
I'm going to have, this might be, okay, so the U.S. government is rigged against the working class. The system is rigged against the working class. They always have been. I mean, why don't we have minimum wage? Why don't we have universal health care? That's our lives. The U.S. government hasn't given a shit about our lives. Joe Biden is to the right of Angela Merkel and Boris Johnson and any right-winger in any industrialized nation because they all have health care because they realize that health is essential to the lives of their people. Health, education, I feel like these are just kind of like security. I mean, don't we all get all those things? So, what was I saying? Shit.
Parties to any kind of high standards. You know what I'm saying? before when they were saying, like, oh, let's vote for Biden and then we'll push him left. Well, now we're here, and, you know, we have people...
So what I was saying before is that I don't feel like there's any hope from the American government. If you're waiting for that, then, you know, you're going to be waiting forever. And so the picture is bleak. Fuck.
It's like Pac-Man who are gung-ho for anything Jen Psaki says.
Jen Psaki is very, very pretty. But, God damn it. No, we're going to... So, there's no hope for America. There's very little hope. I think the hope is going to come from the individuals and, the Soviets, the states, the blue states. So, okay, I got it. So what these center-left people are saying and what they're doing is saying the status quo and everything is fine and dandy and let's just keep on going. Same thing with NPR. Same thing with a lot of fucking shit. Frankly, just look throughout history and look at the people who get assassinated, right? Martin Luther King assassinated. Malcolm X assassinated. JFK, right? Robert Kennedy. They were wanting to get out of Vietnam. So, okay, anybody that says, hey, let's, live together in peace and harmony and let's, give a shit about one another. The one that actually wants to push and move and change shit, these are the motherfuckers that get shot. America doesn't, apparently we're not ready for that. So it feels like to me that any motherfucker that says, all right, shit's got to change, because if we were to present, let's just take the Syrian war, for example. We never were asked about the Syrian war, but if we were asked, if somebody says, do you want to go to war with Syria, you would have to advocate for that position, then defend the position, then try to convince and persuade the people to get on that side. So it's easier just to go along to get along, right? Everything's fine and dandy, just smile. It's, you're not supposed to be political. You're not supposed to... So it feels like to me, you're change makers. Anybody that comes around that actually says, change is going to happen, for sure, change is going to happen, then they get, pushback. The system doesn't want to change. Even the Democrats, Joe Biden's right wing, even the House and the Senate, there's, the 10 progressives are just a little bit progressive, but what about everybody else? So, we live in a very right-wing, conservative country. Even the Democrats are conservative. And so when you have somebody that's saying, hey, let's change this, well, the Democrats, the Republicans are conservative. Somebody saying, let's change something, well, shit. They don't want that. Things are good. They want to keep things, fundamentally the same.
He's like, yes, Jen Psaki, backhanded this reporter for asking a dumbass question. Jen Psaki. That's how he acts about Jen Psaki. It's too much. And it just shows, though, that,
David Pakman is a fucking grifting son of a bitch. I think he just finds them video clips and, well, I think this, I think that. And, when it comes to Jen Psaki is very pretty. She's very pretty and poised and smart, intelligent. And I can't stand the emperor, but when, I'm watching Jen Psaki, it's like, maybe we are in good hands. Maybe everything's going to be fine. And so, yeah, we actually, because I'm in this stupor, right, maybe I'm just giving her a total pass, but I just feel like, look at the other press secretaries, and she seems like she listens to the questions, she's thoughtful, she's got her notes in order, and Brian Tyler Cohen, he does that too. He just, Jen Psaki, oh my God, backhands a reporter for asking a stupid question. And it's never that dramatic, right? It's always like, well, I thought you said the thing. Well, no, I didn't say the thing. Oh, okay. And then that was it. So no real backhanding or what have you. But I guess she's saying they embellish, make it seem like everything's good and fine, and, don't worry. Let the status quo be. It's all good. It's all good. Everything's good. Everything's great. What's wrong with you? Everybody else is saying it's good. How come you're worried about the people that got killed by the cops, the innocent people? Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not good for them. Oh, the poor, the homeless, shit, the people without health care. God damn. Oh, man, I guess there's a... So, Jen Psaki, I think Jen Psaki is very pretty. She represents, a stagnant regime. I'm happy that Donald's not... I don't even think I could fucking breathe when Donald was president. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it does feel like a huge monkey has been lifted off my back. But, you know, Joe isn't going to be the fucking change. Joe isn't going to be the change that we need. And pushing Joe to the whatever side, all right, Tahtahme.
They were never really, they're just not leftist. And we need to start drawing lines in the same.
I'll agree that they're not progressive and they're not pushing for progressive change. David Pakman is, I mean, all that Patreon stuff, I just feel like when you're making money, you're beholden to individual donations, and it's almost like, okay, just, what do you want me to read? You know, give me $20 and I'll read whatever you want me to read. So you're kind of beholden to, you know, a whole bunch of fucking, anyways, what?
Kalinsky and Chank were some of the people who were helping create the Justice Dems. Why aren't they having any control over this or any say into this? Or
so they did help. They were central. They were crucial in establishing the Justice Democrats, but they both got kicked out. They both got kicked out. I don't know the exact stories, but yeah, neither one of them are a part of Justice Democrats. Justice Democrats are kind of running their own thing. Maybe we could look it up, see who's in charge of Justice Democrats. So Jink and Kyle, they started it, so they kind of, you know, get the credit for that. They founded AOC, right? But let's see, About. Okay, justicedemocrats.com. We're going to go to About. No, I don't want to donate money. They got Ayanna Pressley, right? What we do, platform FAQs. Executive director is Alexandra Rojas. R-O-J-A-S, right? It's a H, Rojas. Alexandra Rojas. Then there's some board members. But Alexandra Rojas, ask her about the Justice Democrats, because Jink and, what's-his-face, Kalinsky, neither one of them are a part of Justice Democrats. Okay, Tahtahme, you got any other? Let's just get to hear
other people's headlines and let them define what our words mean. Fucking, you know, AOC is somehow a leftist, I'm somehow a leftist, Bernie's a leftist, and they're in the Democratic Party. I'm in a totally different party.
I wonder where you're going with that, because AOC and Bernie are socialists, which means they are, you know, in name, they're pretty radical in name. And so I wonder if she would, Tahtahme would consider herself a progressive, a leftist, a liberal, a green. What would you call yourself, if anything? I like labels, because I think labels, it organizes things. I'm a social anarchist. I'm an anarcho-socialist, which just means I'm liberal conservative. Yeah, so anarchist in the sense of personal freedoms, and socialist in the sense of let's help the poor. The government should help the fucking poor. Frankly, if the government isn't helping us, why do we have a government? The government isn't helping us. Why do we have a government? Necessary evil? It
just doesn't make any sense, and we don't have to just continue to go with this narrative where even CNN and MSNBC and other centrist news really falls for that narrative where they really let the far right define what each thing is defined by, and they let them control the conversation. I just don't think we need to be playing that game, and I think
I agree. I don't think we should be playing that game, too. So let's, you know, be more specific. Instead of saying the squatter, progressives, or whatever, let's say, okay, Cori Bush stood up for what was right. Let's see, Lauren Boebert is my, you know, representative, and I'm so sad about that. I'm sorry. 6 in 10 voters don't trust the federal government. That's way too low. I thought that Congress had like a 10% approval rating, so it's even worse. Which border is Mayor Koss talking about when he says that our border is closed? It's definitely not the... Okay, what am I... I'm looking at her vote on the Capitol Police, right? Lauren Boebert, Capitol Police bill. God, this is going to take forever. I don't know. She led a GOP standoff with the Capitol Police. So, what is it, HR 1085? I might have to read here for a second. Can you just tell me? Can you just tell me who voted for it? Internet. co-sponsors. That's not really voting. Okay, I don't know how our government. Would she have voted for it or against it? They're supposed to be for the police, but then the Capitol Police, right? They want to take her guns. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think that speaking our own language instead of using other people's language, I think that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Peace out.